Coming up, a very sweet and candid conversation with Princess Diana's personal trainer of 7 years, vacationing together in the United States, a stranger approaching them, trying to flirt with Diana, her falling over in the snow and cackling. What was a young Prince William like? I have all the details for you. I hope you enjoy this chat so much. All right, Jenni Rivett, you are the creator of Train Like a Woman, the fitness program that everyone that is listening or watching needs to engage with. You also have these great Zoom classes, but you were Princess Diana's personal trainer from 1991 to 1997. I've read that during that period of her life, whenever anyone commented about how great she looked, she would direct all of the attention to you by saying, "Thanks to Jenni." That's quite the endorsement.
Yeah. It was one of the things that I absolutely loved and adored about her was that we worked so well together. She absolutely was dedicated to her training. She never ever missed a session, and well, very rarely. And very often she would encourage me in the gym to go, and if she saw somebody doing an exercise incorrectly, she'd say, "Jenni, you have to go and show them how to do that exercise properly." And I just thought that was always so endearing about her. Yeah.
I think that gives us a little insight into her personality, certainly, but that's also one of the strengths, one of your strengths I've read, that you can tell somebody you need to move your body this way or that way, and then they actually get the most out of the workout. So clearly, she recognized that that was something important that you did. First of all,
Yeah.
did you know that there's a paparazzi photo of you from the 90s on eBay selling for 19 pounds of you just like walking to your car looking like a amazing and effortlessly chic from the 90s? I'm sure you were at a workout with
No,
Diane.
I don't know that. I
Isn't that
haven't
so
seen that.
funny?
Was I on my own or with her?
You were on your own. I actually took a screenshot of it. I'll share it right now because I just thought, how funny is that? I bet she doesn't even know that that's out there. It's just this picture of you on
Oh,
eBay.
yes. Yeah, I have seen that.
So cute.
I think it's not the most flattering photo, but anyway,
Oh, you look adorable. I love it. And now
thank
I know this
you.
story, but could you share with my audience how the princess found you? You were apparently the talk of the town.
Do you know, I got a phone call one afternoon. I mean, I'm from South Africa, and I was living in London and building my way up. Personal training had just started in the early 90s. And I got a phone call from her butler saying Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales would like to know if she can make an appointment to see you. And I always joke and go, "Well, hang on a minute, let me just check my diary." Anyway, yeah, and that was the start of a 7-year relationship. And then after I got to know her, I asked her one day, how did you hear about me? And she told me that she'd heard about me at 3 different dinner parties. Jenni, the South African trainer. So she said I had to try out and see for myself.
And she was so impressed with you. So I think that she made a great decision. I've read that you didn't realize you were expected to curtsy to the princess until 4 years into your relationship. Take me back to that moment. Were you absolutely mortified when you connected the dots?
Well, I think that's why her and I lasted so long is because yes, I was walking through Kensington Gardens with her one day. We liked to often power walk and sometimes we would rollerblade. And then her best friend came walking in the opposite direction and curtsied to her like a major curtsy. And I was quite shocked. But the next time the person, her friend, I also used to train her. So the next time I went there, I asked her, I said, "Why did you curtsy to your best friend?" And she said to me, "Well, Jenni, it's protocol, don't you? You have to. You're not curtsying to her, you're curtsying to the crown." And yeah, I was a little bit mortified, but One of the things about Diana and I is that we had such a relaxed relationship. So the next time I saw her, I said, "Oh my word, today we are going to curtsy for the entire lesson because I owe you 4 years of curtsying." And she just brushed it off. She said, "You know what? You're South African. Please don't ever curtsy to me. You didn't know. I don't ever want you to." So that was good.
Well,
But I think the thing about her and I is that we became very close. And I mean, sometimes she would tell me things and I would say, "Please don't tell me that, because if that's in the press tomorrow, you're going to think it's me." Um, but I never over this, even though we got very close, I never overstepped the mark. As I am your trainer. You can tell me whatever you like. It'll stay in here. And I think that's why I lasted so long with her, because I just had that respect of never ever stepping over the line, even though she was telling me all this stuff.
that's hard to navigate though. That's hard to nourish a relationship while feeling like outside forces could affect it. So that is impressive that you were able to maintain that, because that must have been nerve-wracking. You mentioned rollerblading, and I've read, you said you were always laughing with one another. You taught her how to rollerblade, and that it was something that just made you two giggle. And also, you would ignore some of the no rollerblading signs around Kensington Gardens, and a police car spotted you at one point. What happened when the police car spotted you rollerblading, breaking the rules?
Well, I think when they saw that it was her, they just kind of turned a blind eye. But I remember that we were sort of going down a little hill and she was just gaining so much speed. And I went up behind her. And I mean, she's quite a lot taller than me. And I just grabbed her, around her waist because I'm really strong. And I said to her, "Oh, I'm not enjoying this situation now. It looks like you're going a bit too fast." So, but one of the things I absolutely loved about her was her sense of humor.
Mhm.
And, we have a sense of humor down here in South Africa. So we were just spot on with each other.
Yeah.
We
I
used to
have
have,
I have some very specific questions about that. So I hope you're prepared for those. When it comes to the rollerblading, you have said before that you'd almost had a heart attack when she'd fall over. Was Diana the get back up and try it again type of gal? Was she, even if she had fallen over, would she have jumped up and been like, "All right, round two"?
she absolutely would have. She absolutely would have.
I
I
love
mean, we went snow skiing in Colorado too, and she did fall on the snow once because she was just laughing at this guy trying to introduce himself to her. And she just lay on the snow for about 5 minutes and just absolutely laughed her head off, but got straight up again. Yeah. So she
that
was
is
that type of.
that is precious. Now you have said that Diana enjoyed step aerobics, cardio, rollerblading, and power walking around the gardens of Kensington. But what workouts did she dread? Like, what was it like pulling teeth with her?
She didn't like running,
Oh, yeah.
and obviously we worked so incredibly hard on her upper body and getting those beautiful arms, and her legs were already great, I have to tell you, but we just strengthened them up. I would say the part that she dreaded the most was the tummy exercises, doing those sorts of things.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
so funny because some of my favorite pictures are of her jogging and running. So that's great. It's interesting to know that she was not enjoying herself in that moment. Um,
Not so much. Yeah.
you saw Hugh Grant at the gym one time, and it's one of the guys from Duran Duran. Can you take me back?
Yeah, it was just a fun story where, and by the way, I've only ever shared wonderful memories about the princess. I've never ever told anything else, and I'm proud to say that.
Yes.
But yeah, we were in the gym and we would sort of start out with our warm up and then maybe some cardio and then go on to the strength training. And only at the end would we go and do our stretching on the mat. And she was very persistent one day, like maybe 15 minutes into our session, that she wanted to go over to the mat. And I was like, "Well, we're not ready to do that yet." "No, no, please, please, I really want to go over to the mat." So I went over there, and of course, there was Hugh Grant and Simon Le Bon on the mat. And she went and put her beautiful leg up on the bar, and it was just a fun moment. And I just thought, okay, I know why you wanted to come over here.
So flirty, so cute. I absolutely love her. And you're right. I've never read that you've said anything negative about her. Before she passed away, she gave you permission to discuss your professional relationship.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you defended her in the papers when they suggested she had cellulite.
Hmm.
I can't, when I read that, I was horrified that you even had to do that. I mean, who would say something like that? What were those
Yeah.
papers like at the time? And how quickly did you pick up the phone and say, I'm going to stop this conversation?
Well, I think she was starting to get very annoyed about it simply because she said to me, there are more important things in the world to worry about than my thighs. And that was what was really upsetting her. Not
Yeah.
the fact that maybe she did have a little bit of,
We all
cellulite,
do. We all
which
do.
believe me, she actually didn't. But
Oh,
um, yeah, yeah, maybe in the light there might have been, but and so I phoned her that afternoon because it was sort of escalating and going on and on and on. And I said to her, well, would you like me, I'm your trainer, I see your legs this close, and would you like me to intervene? And she said, Jenny, I would really appreciate that. And so I did.
oh, you are the best girlfriend. The boys used to fight over who would get to hold your baby, Kirsty. What a fun story to tell over cocktails. Does she love that fun fact about herself?
Who, my daughter, Kirsty?
Yeah.
Or
Does she love
Yeah,
being
well,
able
in
to say that the
fact, it
boys
was
fought over
quite
her?
funny because her husband's name is William. So
Oh.
at her wedding, her dad's, in his speech, he said, well, we were holding out for Prince William, but you got your Prince William. So
That is so sweet. I love, love, love that.
yeah, they used to occasionally I would get a call to say, could you come up to the palace? And then I would say, well, I've got Kirsty, we'll bring her along. And the boys would as I want to hold her. No, I want to hold her. It's my turn.
Oh, that is so sweet. Yeah, they do. They always seemed like such sweet, snuggly little boys. And they would interrupt your workouts with Diana. You talked about Prince
Yeah.
Harry showing up with a water gun and Prince William
Yes.
like putting like putty in his nose and having these like tubes dangling from his nostrils.
Yeah.
Was it as warm of an environment and comforting and freeing as Diana seemed as a person? Was her environment that comforting?
Yeah. Honestly, she was just such a great mom, and she really was just like normal. I sometimes had to pinch myself and go, "Am I actually in Kensington Palace with Princes Harry and William and Princess Diana, just telling them off, go, I've had enough of you now. Just leave. If you don't stop that now, I'm going to ban you from the room." And then they would say, oh, sorry, mom, like real typical, yes, very normal.
I love that. And you have said Diana has a wicked sense of humor. You said something similar a few minutes ago. And you used to tell her jokes that were passed on to you by your sister, Heather. And when Diana eventually meets Heather, she says, are you the supplier of the jokes? Keep them coming. Do you have any examples of Heather jokes, or at least give us a taste of what the themes were with Heather jokes?
Um, I think you've caught me off
No,
guard
no,
with
it's
that.
it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago, but we all
Yeah,
love
it
having
was. It was.
a
I
silly
mean,
sibling.
some of them were a little bit naughty, so I'm not going to talk about them on here. But she was full of fun. Just the most incredible sense of humor, and that is what I miss about her the most is her sense of humor and that laugh. She just had the most incredible laugh.
Yeah, I went to a museum and there was an entire wall just full of cards she sent friends, and they were filthy. It was hilarious. I mean, you just would not imagine somebody so sweet and beautiful and gorgeous to be cackling at some of these things, but they were legitimately funny. So I did understand it. Her sense of humor could also be found in her, outwitting the paparazzi. Talk to me about Diana's Virgin Atlantic sweatshirt and how she recycled it to kind of sabotage their payday.
Yeah. Well, again, when we trained at the Harbour Club, she would often say to me, "Can you just go outside quickly and see who's there?" And you get to know the mirror and they're always just over the top of this high wall with their long lenses. And again, she just felt like there were more important things to worry about. So, um, she said to me one day, "Jenny, I've got the perfect plan." She said, "I'm going to wear this sweatshirt every single time I walk out of the gym." And occasionally she would have an umbrella and she would walk backwards with the umbrella so they couldn't. She was so fed up with it.
That is.
And, so they would just eventually get bored of taking the same photo of me wearing this Virgin Atlantic sweatshirt that was gifted to her by Richard Branson.
And then that was gifted to you, and you were so sweet in auctioning that off. You said, "I want to take this and I want to improve someone's life with it." Were you shocked? First of all, what were the results? And second of all, were you floored by the results? I was when I saw
I
them.
was, and I think she was up there going, "You know what? Here you go."
Absolutely. I mean, over $50,000.
Yes. Well, obviously, there was commission involved and everything, but still it was significant. And I was really pleased because I was able to help this Malawian family to send their children to school. And I still, do help them. And yeah, and there was more than enough. And I was able to also, keep some for myself for my other charities and things that I work with. So
What a
I
blessing.
was,
That was a great execution all the way around. Congratulations. I thought
yes, thank you.
this quote was very fascinating. You said Diana used to ask me for advice. Sometimes I felt nervous about disagreeing with her. For example, I did not agree with her frequent visits to astrologers and psychics, but she seemed to appreciate my she seemed to appreciate my honesty. I mean, I've talked to psychics and astrologers. What are we looking for when we do that? When I read that quote, I thought, I wonder what she was looking for.
Yeah, I think um, I'm a strong Christian, so I just don't go down that route.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
and
you
I
also
think
you,
she
oh, go ahead.
I think she saw that. I think she saw that in me because she would often say, "Jenny, you'll be so proud of me. I went and lit a candle at the church the other day." And yeah, and I didn't agree with it. And I think that she liked the fact that I didn't just agree with everything that she said.
Yeah,
So,
no, I think that definitely made you unique, as we've seen, over the past 2 years, these celebrity deaths, Matthew Perry, Liam Payne, a lot of times it's when people are so successful, it's because when they're so successful, they are surrounded by yes people. And the fact that
yeah.
you were so honest with her, I think was a
Mm,
unique trait that she really appreciated. She gave you this book called Closer to the Light about near death experiences. And, you said it did give you some comfort because it showed some of her Christian beliefs. Why do you
yes.
think she was drawn to that book, and what did she think you would appreciate about it?
Kinsey, I think that was just more she was a person that would very much talk to me in the moment.
Mhm.
And that was in a in the moment book. And I think she knew that I had a strong faith and she was intrigued to see how I would, interpret the book and everything because life was, obviously tough for her and we all we've all been tempted to, I wonder what's going to happen. I mean, I wonder what's really going on. And so I think she was just more intrigued to see how I would interpret that book.
How neat
Yeah,
that
I
she
actually forgot about that.
But how neat that she admired your opinion so much that she gave you something that affected her in some way, shape, or form, and said, "I'd love to get your feedback." That, I think again, that's another example of how much she loved you.
I do remember her saying something to me once, and honestly, I'm not a me person, but she did say to me once, which I've never forgotten. It was a good Nice compliment. She said to me, "Are you one of the strongest people I've ever met in my life?" Besides, she was very good friends with the Brazilian ambassador's
Oh,
wife.
yes. Yeah.
And she said, and it's because you're both Aries.
Oh, I'm an Aries too.
Are
I
you?
love that.
When is
Yeah.
your birthday?
See, March 27th. When is yours?
I'm on the 30th.
Oh, we're so close together. See, now I'm just going to assume that I could have been best friends with Diana too, and I love that. Okay.
Yeah,
You took a trip
because
to Vail. You used to live in Vail. You used to live in Colorado. You said
yeah,
you said you saw her lose it after watching someone else fall in the snow. How special was that trip? And to show her your old stomping ground.
exactly. And it was at a time when, and I organized the whole trip, and it was at a time when she was really struggling with the separation. It was between Christmas and New Year. So yeah, it was a tough time for her. And we had so much fun on that trip.
Oh, and there were like very few photographers. It really was the ultimate girls' trip and escape, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, it took them 3 days to track her down. They thought that she was in Sydney, Australia, or Switzerland. And it was the first time she had not flown British Airways. She flew courtesy of a friend of mine who had a share in Northwest Airlines. So we flew on that airline. And somebody put us up in their beautiful home, friends of my friends.
Mhm.
But on day 3, the Sun newspaper was knocking on the door saying, we believe the Princess of Wales is staying here. So we just denied it, but they did eventually catch up with us.
So annoying. I mean, I can't imagine trying to go on a vacation and being chased 4 days by people.
Yeah,
You got
it was relentless with
ugh,
her.
so annoying. You encouraged her to start juicing, and you said she'd pinch her nose. She liked the idea. She liked the way it made her feel. She loved the way it made her skin look, but she did not
Yeah.
like the taste. What did she say to you?
No, because in those days it was just the start of wheatgrass, you know.
Oh,
And I told her that she needed to have a shot of wheatgrass. And I don't know whether she sent her driver in or if she went into the shop and got a shot of wheatgrass. But apparently she said, "I'm going to kill Jenny," because she just like, it's terrible. It's the most shocking taste. So she did. She said, "Jenny, I have to block my nose and pour that stuff down." She said, "But I'm taking your advice because I can, because you know what you're talking about." So
yeah, that's right. And like you said, sometimes Diana was blue, but how does exercise improve your mood? Because you've talked about how sometimes with Diana, you'd watch her anxiety disappear because she was getting in there.
yeah.
She was just focused on the workout. In general, how does working out improve our moods and kind of release some of that sadness and anxiety?
Well, it's the biggest antidepressant that's ever been invented, let's say it that way. And they're even saying now that when you contract a muscle, that it releases these hope molecules, which and brain chemicals. Well, we knew that already, but I think the feeling of just coming out and you've worked your muscles, your heart rate is pumped. Um, it 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 gets rid of depression and sadness and anxiety like you cannot believe. I mean, often we would be in the gym and there would be the TVs all around of her, and I could visibly feel her energy. And it was my job to change my strategy if there was a huge story up there, to think, well, no, I can't do this with her today. And I would try and do things that I knew would just be fun and quick and lots of changing things around. And that is the most amazing, incredible thing you can do for your body, because it just lifts depression, anxiety, and everything. And you just feel like doing an air punch when you walk out of that gym.
I love that, and you're absolutely right. You sometimes are so reluctant to go to the gym, and then as you're walking out, you're like, "Wow, I'm so glad I made that decision."
Yeah.
You know, women can be so sensitive about our age. But when we imagine how young Diana was when we lost her, we recognize what a blessing it is to celebrate another birthday. What is your favorite thing about getting older?
I think that, I'm 64 now, and I honestly am feeling better and stronger, more mobile. I think just because I've learned more as I've gone along. So I think for me, it's just the fact that I never thought that at the age of 64 that I could look and feel like this and then help so many other women and inspire so many other women. And I'm looking forward to having grandchildren and being able to run and do whatever they want me to do, jump on the table, just I think so many people put age into a category. When you're 50, this is going to happen. And when
Yeah,
you're 60, oh, it's completely, you're finished.
yeah,
And I think for me, the quality of movement in a person, the way they move, the way they turn, the way they get out of a chair, stand, sit, is such an indication of age. And if you can take care of that aspect, which is, drinking enough water, doing your mobility work, and taking omega-3 oils, the world is your oyster, honestly. So I think, does that answer the question?
no, absolutely it does. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I'll be quick with the next few questions because I'm so grateful for your time. You saw young Prince William. Do you see, as an adult Prince William, do you see any Diana in him?
Double,
Oh,
absolute double in every way.
I love
In
that.
his, in his, I mean, he's in Cape Town right now,
Yeah, yeah.
and I wish I could see him, but obviously, it's been a long time. But I just look at him and the way he speaks, the way he looks, his his mannerisms.
Yeah.
He is her absolute double.
He's such a beautiful boy on the inside
He
and
is
out.
he is just he is just so much like her.
I love that.
Yeah.
And one day you said to Diana, you said she was in a flood of tears over bad press. And you said, I reminded her that today's news was tomorrow's fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
Yeah. A, I'd ask how she responded to that. And B, I would just say, and you don't have to respond if you don't want to, I would say that is some great advice for Harry and Meghan. But I'd love to know it just from your point, when you told her that, did she immediately realize it's the truth?
That was interesting because she really was, just so upset, and I did say that to her. And it just shows how human she was, Kinsey, that she cared about what people thought. And when these terrible stories were getting out about her and that, and literally a few months later, she died. And I remember just going up and putting my flowers down with that sea of flowers and just looking up to the sky and saying, "Do you believe now how many people just absolutely loved you?"
Oh, that makes me want to cry. Um,
Yeah.
that is so sweet. How do you want people to remember her? What is her legacy to you as somebody that actually admired her and had her in your life?
Her greatest trait was had so much humility. She honestly cared about, even if she thought there was something vaguely wrong with me, she would say, "Are you okay today?" And
Yeah.
she really was she was so caring. And she really genuinely just wanted to be she was interested in people. She wanted to go to the shelter. She wanted to hug children. And it was something she spoke about a lot. And secondly, I have to say her sense of humor. So the two of those things,
Just
she
magic.
really was honestly and I've worked with a lot of people, but she was just an incredible human being who had such an aura about her that when she walked into a room, you just, it was just there.
Absolutely. How can people keep up with you? You have a brand new Instagram page. Can you tell us, tell my audience how they can find you and continue to follow you?
Well, it's I got hacked,
Yeah.
lost a lot of followers, so that would be great.
And
It's Jenni Rivett.
I'll link underneath it too.
Thank you so much. And I've also recently released my online Train Like a Woman program, which I'm very excited about. And it's all obviously the work that I did with the princess and more. So I'm really excited to help women, 40 and above.
All right. And what is your new handle quickly? I'm so sorry, I forgot it.
Jenni Rivett _ fitness.
Fitness. Okay. And I'm going to link to that. I'm going to link to your website, which has your training program. And I'll make sure I'll also link to that on Instagram too. So if you follow me on Instagram, I'm going to make sure to link to that and I'll tag you.
Yeah, we are following each other now.
Yes, I love you and I love looking at your workouts and I love challenging myself on Zoom with you. So thank you so much. What was your favorite part of the conversation? What was your favorite story? Please let me know in the comments below. And if you have any questions for Jenni, she's offered to come back and chat with us again. So if you have any questions for her, also let me know in the comments below what you would ask her in the future. And maybe we can get her back sooner than later and I can ask her some of your questions. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this chat with a friend. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Kinsey Schofield.